Due to their location in history, millennials have acquired 7 distinct personality traits as a generation. In later videos, I'll discuss how these traits pose various challenges and opportunities in the workplace. Here, we're just going to take an overall look at what these 7 traits are. The first trait is special. Almost from birth, millennials have been raised to feel central to their parents' lives and important to the adults around them. By contrast, most boomers and Xers sooner or later learned that they weren't so special. When they became parents, in fact, most of them agreed that they spent and continue to spend much more time with their own kids than their own parents ever did with them. When we boomers and Gen Xers came to college, we jumped out of the car and tried to grab our suitcases before our parents sped off. When millennials arrive at college, there are long orientations and immersions with parents clutching teddy bears and weeping. Now in the workplace, these special millennials want to be mentored, to feel like an important member of the team, and to share their ideas right away. The second trait is sheltered. Millennials grew up in an era of rising parental protection, never having known a time without bicycle helmets, Amber Alerts, and 15 different ways to be buckled into their minivan seats. We boomers and Xers grew up in an era of declining parental protection. Our parents told us we don't care where you go, so long as you're home for dinner, and as for seatbelts, we were told if there's an accident to just put up your hands like this. Now in the workplace, sheltered millennials expect zero-tolerance safety policies. They're investing in 401ks, and they want counsel and support on life basics like tax prep and relocation assistance. The third trait is confident. Raised to believe they can do anything, millennials have high levels of optimism about themselves, their generation, and their future. Boomers, and especially Xers, often felt like they were in a high-stakes gamble for individual success, where most of them would fail. But millennials believe their entire peer group can be successful, and that with enough hard work and planning, they can come together to solve the world's toughest problems. Now in the workplace, confident millennials want an upbeat environment with plenty of positive reinforcement. The fourth trait is team-oriented. Millennials were raised with community service, group projects in the classroom, and clubs for everything. Digital technology connects them with each other 24/7. Boomers and Xers were much more into competition, rebellion, and defying the mainstream. We did not friend each other. Growing up, our biggest fear was that Big Brother might someday install cameras in our rooms. Today, our biggest surprise is to see young people connect with each other by installing their own cameras in their own rooms. In the workplace, team-oriented millennials continue to prefer teamwork over competition, seek out community service opportunities, and gravitate toward employers who try to make a positive difference. The fifth trait is conventional. Surveys show that millennials want to become good citizens, good neighbors, and well-rounded people who start families. The values gap separating youth from their parents has virtually disappeared. For boomers and Xers, everything about our youth culture was intentionally hostile to parents. That was the whole idea. But millennials watch the same movies as their parents, listen to the same songs, buy the same clothing brands. They discuss personal problems with their parents and feel just fine about moving back in with them. Even before the Great Recession hit, first-wave millennials in their 20s were much more likely to live with their parents than boomers and Xers were at the same age. Today in the workplace, conventional millennials like norms and structure. They want training in soft skills so they can behave properly. And even the best and brightest of them will still call mom and dad if anything goes wrong. The sixth trait is pressured. Driven by pushy parents, rising expectations for a college degree, and the tough recent job market, millennials increasingly believe that long-term success demands near-term achievement and planning. Young boomers and Xers felt like you could do almost anything you wanted in high school or college, and your life wouldn't be hugely affected by it. For millennials, the connection between today's behavior and tomorrow's payoff has been returning. In today's workplace, Pressured millennials are looking down the road and seeking constant feedback to make sure they're on the right track, both for specific tasks and their long-term careers. There's also enormous pressure to find the right job in a young adult labor market that remains dismal years after the Great Recession. The seventh trait is achieving. With schools increasingly focused on accountability and standards, millennials have become highly intent on achievement and are on track to become the best educated young adults in U.S. history. The shares of 25 to 29-year-olds who today have a 4-year college degree, 33%, some college, 63%, or a high school diploma, 90%, are all at record highs. Young boomers and Xers often resisted being graded or pigeonholed by the system. But millennials are generally eager to jump through the institutional hoops their teachers or managers set for them. Now, in the workplace, they are looking for clear benchmarks for skill mastery and career advancement, and they expect to have access to the high-tech tools they see as essential to getting there.